It has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life to serve as Vice President to our President, Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment over his entire career and over the past 3.5 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, think about it, in one term as president, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who served 2 terms in office. And I know we are all deeply, deeply grateful for his continuing service to our nation. And it is my great honor to have Joe Biden's endorsement in this race. So, Wisconsin, I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination. And I am so very honored, and I pledge to you I will spend the coming weeks continuing to unite our party so that we are ready to win in November. So, friends, we have 105 days until Election Day, and in that time, we've got some work to do. But we're not afraid of hard work. We like hard work, don't we? And we will win this election. Yes, we will. So as Leah told you, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I promise you, I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges that was scamming students. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. As a prosecutor, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Well, Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big Wall Street banks and held them accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of fraud on 34 counts. But let's also make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This campaign is about who we fight for. This is about who we fight for. Just look at how we are running our campaigns. So Donald Trump is relying on support from billionaires and big corporations. And he is trading access in exchange for campaign contributions. A couple of months ago, you all saw that a couple of months ago at Mar-a-Lago, he literally promised big oil companies, big oil lobbyists, he would do their bidding for $1 billion in campaign donations. On the other hand, we are running a people-powered campaign. And we just had some breaking news. We just had the best 24 hours of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history. All right? And because we are a people-powered campaign, that is how you know we will be a people-first presidency. And Wisconsin, this campaign is also about two different visions for our nation. One, where we are focused on the future. The other, focused on the past. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty. Where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Where every person has affordable health care, affordable child care, and paid family leave. We believe in a future where every senior can retire with dignity. So all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because here's the thing we all here, Wisconsin, know. When our middle class is strong, America is strong. But Donald Trump wants to take our country backward. He and his extreme Project 2025 agenda will weaken the middle class. Like, we know we got to take this seriously. Can you believe they put that thing in writing? Read it. It's 900 pages. But here's the thing. When you read it, you will see Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and make working families foot the bill. They intend to end the Affordable Care Act and take us back then to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Remember what that was like? Children with asthma, women who survived breast cancer, grandparents with diabetes. America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back. Not going back. We're not going back. We are not going back. And I'll tell you why we're not going back. Because ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Generations of generations, and we have to remember this, the shoulders on which we stand, generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now, Wisconsin, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will make sure every American has the ability to cast their ballot and have it counted. We who believe that every person in our nation should have the freedom to live safe from the terror of gun violence will finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban. And we who believe in reproductive freedom will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans because we trust women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do. And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. So, Wisconsin, ultimately in this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country and to your point, do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? And here's the beauty of this moment. We each have the power to answer that question. The power is with the people. We each have the power to answer that question. And in the next 105 days, then we have work to do. We have doors to knock on, we have phone calls to make, we have voters to register, and we have an election to win. So, Wisconsin, today I ask you, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Promise of America. And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
You've been listening to Vice President Kamala Harris speaking to a crowd at West Allis Central High School. Harris holding her first rally after launching her campaign Sunday, hours after President Joe Biden dropped out and endorsed her. We do know that she said the path to the White House runs through Wisconsin, which is a big reason why she's here today campaigning in Milwaukee, in West Allis. Political director Matt Smith joins us live on the phone from the rally. Matt, what do you think are your biggest takeaways from this rally?
Mallory, the campaign was looking for Democratic unity, and they were looking for a loud crowd, and that is what they got at least inside this gymnasium, some 3,000 people, supporters. That is a record for a campaign event for the Biden-Harris team. Now, obviously, just the Harris campaign. This her first official campaign rally as a presidential candidate. This gymnasium was packed as the vice president pleaded with Wisconsin Democrats to get active. She mentioned 105 days left as she continues to work the rope line here. Some supporters trying to get selfies in this, her official stop, just some 48 hours after President Biden dropped out of this race. The Democratic Party said this was going to be about unity. We'll see what happens in the next 105 days. The crowd at one point chanting "Lock him up," referring to former President Donald Trump, reminiscent of Republicans yelling "Lock her up" from 2016, referring to Hillary Clinton. The crowd cheering Kamala as she walked out. She wasted no time. First, after thanking President Joe Biden, acknowledging that she now has the delegates needed to secure the nomination at the convention in Chicago. She wasted no time going after former President Donald Trump. A preview of what we are going to see on the campaign trail starting at this moment in Wisconsin. She has said, the Democratic Party has said, this is now a campaign about prosecuting Donald Trump's record and history. A number of prominent Wisconsin Democrats here, Governor Tony Evers, Senator Tammy Baldwin, both speaking before the vice president, along with Mayor Cavalier Johnson, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. The campaign at this moment, Mallory, looks to see this as a pivotal moment, a reset of sorts, but there is a dramatically short time frame here. There is new polling going into the field tomorrow from the Marquette Law School poll. The question is, how much of a reset is this in key swing states like Wisconsin, where Trump has had a 3, 4, 5-point lead over President Biden? The head-to-head matchups with Kamala Harris have narrowed it a bit, but this is a moment that Democrats say they needed, and they will look to capitalize as the Trump campaign will look to respond. And this new campaign, so to speak, between Harris and Trump kicks off at this moment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mallory.
Political Director Matt Smith reporting from that rally at West Allis Central High School, where Vice President Kamala Harris just spoke to a crowd, really kicking off her campaign to be the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party.